My name is Brigand. I'm the Associate Director here, which basically means my job is twofold. On the one hand, I direct professional work for children and young people and look after that strand of our work, but I also manage our creative learning department, which has 9 in it now. So that's and that goes right through from, we have an education strand, a community outreach strand, we also have a resident drama therapist who works with adults with mental health needs. We have a massive youth theatre and a massive lifelong learning programme. So yeah, it's kind of quite broad. So I look after all of that, but also direct work with and for children and young people.
So how have you crossed paths with Caroline since she's been here?
Well, first of all, because I sit on the senior management team, one of the first things was that when Caroline came into post, I've been really aware since I got here that our access policies are pretty null and void and that we need to do a lot more work on them. They're there and we have the basics there, but it wasn't really anybody's remit and nobody was really... So I was really aware of that, and we talked about it quite a lot at SMT, and because at that time I was going off down south just to shadow Grey Eye Theatre Company, it was kind of in my field of interest. So when Caroline came into post, it was really good because I had someone who had a wealth of knowledge, and I could go, okay, what do I do about this, and where do we go with this, and how does that work? So that was one strand, and through that what we've done is we've set up a subgroup that's focused specifically on access, and hence why we're involved in the FST plan ahead stuff. And just looking at trying to be proactive rather than waiting for the day when we suddenly go, oh, actually our policies are all on the shelf and they're not really very practical. I'm trying, not succeeding, but trying to drive the senior management team forward in terms of actually let's be proactive about this. And having Caroline there, it meant that I could also it was almost like a reason I could go, but now Caroline's here, we've got no reason not to, because we've got someone with all the knowledge of what we should be doing. So that was one side. And then the other side was Caroline came in to talk to my team specifically about her role and just opened up the discussion about access and how we specifically engage in access and what we do. And obviously in terms of the work that the creative learning team do, access is at the heart of what we do. So so she kind of just spent a day with us just talking through what we do already, what other stuff we should be doing, and how, and just opening up the discussion, really just kicking it off as a discussion point. So that's so far where we've got to. DT are they're really forward thinking in what they do, and they've done the Adam Benjamin project, Angels of Instance, which I think had was a real eye opener for lots of people at the Rep as well as our board and all of that. And so I think that was it was kind of one of those things where we've got this idea, we're going to run with this, and it's just like brilliant. And I don't think really it was thought through how is that going to influence and knock on to everything else. But certainly in terms of my conversations with James, we've talked since that, and because Caroline's here, about how it influences what the ensemble do or how it should do, and how we should look at a broader picture of and how we can take that kind of little splash and let's see where the ripples go. I think we could still do more. I think we could engage with Caroline more. I think we could engage with Caroline's more. Personally, I think we could. I've got a friend who's a director and is in a wheelchair, and she always says the strongest thing that she goes and runs access days. And she says the biggest thing is at the end of the day is that I'm in a wheelchair and people do expect me to be, and then they listen to me and I'm a real person with real thoughts and all of that. And I think that's true of Caroline as well. I was in a meeting with somebody quite high up in the council recently, and he just waxed lyrical about how inspirational she was, and it was almost in my head I was going, well, why wouldn't she be? Do you know what I mean? But for him that was obviously the biggest lesson, and he was wanting her to speak at this, that and the other event. Do you know what I mean? And this is a guy who's incredibly intelligent and very high up in the council and got a lot of power actually. So I suppose it made me go, well, maybe that might just make things on their agenda be a little bit higher. And I think the fact that Caroline she's such a great, she's fab, you meet her and she's just really warm and really happy, and you want to spend time with her. She's incredibly intelligent, she knows what she's talking about, she's incredibly talented when you see her dancing, and the piece that she choreographed recently as well. So I think that's the main thing actually, is just by meeting her, it's like seeing, and her being quite truthful about it, I am an artist, that's what I am first and foremost. I think that's really important. I think that actually does more than any training or any discussion or any of that. I think that first and foremost. And then I suppose the things that people haven't learned and the things that I still get frustrated with is things around the building. When the fact that Caroline has to still bang on the door in order to get into our office because the keypad is far too high, things like that still frustrate me. And I suppose I really respect the fact that Caroline still comes down and bangs on our door and we go and let her in, and she doesn't give up. She doesn't just go, all right, I'm just not going to go there. Do you know what I mean? So that thing's always there.